Can an agent represent both the buyer and the seller on the same house? The technical answer to that question is yes, they can. Dual agency is allowable here in Tennessee. However, most brokerages don't allow it. So the Tennessee Real Estate Commission says yes, you can do it as long as it's disclosed. But most brokerages in East Tennessee practice what's called designated agency, meaning if you are the designated agent for the seller, you cannot be the designated agent for the buyer as well. And that, to me, that makes total sense. And here's why. If I'm serving the seller has contacted me and we have worked through getting the home ready to go on the market, we're listing the house, my loyalty lies to that seller. Buyer A comes along, calls me and says, hey, you're the listing agent for this home, I want to go look at it. Well, my duty to the seller is to help them get the home sold. So I will definitely go show that house to buyer A. But when buyer A says, oh my God, this is everything I've ever wanted, I want to put an offer in on it, I'm going to say, stop right there. I have already disclosed that I represent the seller when we had our initial conversation. But I'm going to remind that buyer, I represent the seller. I cannot represent you in the transaction. You need an agent to represent you and look out for your best interest. I give them three options. Option A, I can write the offer, but they need to realize they're going to be unrepresented in the transaction, meaning I can't offer them advice. I can't advise them of pricing or negotiation. Or option B, I can refer them to another agent in my office that can be their representative and handle that for them. Or option C, do you know another agent that you want to represent you in this transaction? If so, contact them. That's the three options that I give to buyers when they want to write an offer on one of my listings. Now, we have plenty of agents in our office and in other offices that what they will do is drop to what's called a facilitator status, meaning they don't really represent either party, but they're the go-between. And I don't do that because I don't feel like it's fair to my seller. Most of my sellers find me because they've looked on Google, they've read my reviews, they've been referred to me, and I don't feel like it's fair to them for me to drop my position down to being a facilitator and saying, yeah, I know I told you I was going to be your designated agent and I was always going to look out for you and your best interest, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to be a facilitator and I'm just going to be the go-between. It's not fair to the seller. It's not fair to the buyer. Both parties need dedicated representation when they're buying or selling. And as an agent, there's no way that I can look out for the best interest of the seller, help them get the most money for their house and the best terms for their sale, and work for the buyer and help them get the best price, because the best price for the buyer is not always going to be the best price for the seller. And even the Bible tells us we can't serve two masters, right? We've got to pick who we're going to be loyal to. If you're looking at a house and you're one of those buyers who is like, well, I'm calling the listing agent. They know more about the house than anybody else, and I can probably get a deal by using the listing agent. A, you're probably not going to get a deal by using the listing agent. But B, you're definitely not going to have your own representation if you use the seller's agent to write the offer for you. Can an agent represent both sides? Sure they can. Is it the best deal for either party? No, it's not.